Alright, so Thursday, watch the video, take notes, show Mr. Fox or Ms. McDonald your notes. They'll give you the homework, you can work on that, check your answer key online. So, find the equation of the following lines. You need to find the y-intercept and the slopes. So y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, crosses at -5. So, slope, pick any 2 points. Usually take the y-intercept and any other nice point. Find the slope, rise over run. Up, 1, 2, 3, to the right 2. So, my slope's going to be positive 3/2. So then, plug them in for m and b. Y equals 3/2 x plus -5, or we should write it as -5. Next one, same thing. Find the y-intercept, find the slope. So y-intercept's at 1, 2, positive 3. Pick another point to find our slope. I know I'm going down 1, right 2. So I'm going to have a -1/2 slope. So writing my equation, just plugging in my y-intercept and slope for m and b. Y equals -1/2 x plus 3. Pretty simple. Find our slope, find our y-intercept, plug them into our equation. So, our notes for today, talking about writing equations when we're given 2 points in the y-intercept, and then writing equations when we're just given 2 points. So for the first part, if you're giving 2 points at least and the y-intercept, 3 steps. Step 1, use 2 of the points to find the slope. Right? Slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Step 2, identify the value of b for your y-intercept. Right? Looking at the point, 0, comma b. So 0 in the x value, that number in the y value, that's our b, our y-intercept. And then plugging in m and b into y equals mx plus b, so we get an equation. So the first one, 6, -2, and 0, 7. So x1, y1. x2, y2. So plug in your values. To find the slope, 7 minus -2, or 7 plus 2, over 0 minus 6. Because you get 9 over -6, which we know equals, reduced, should be -3/2. So that's my slope. Then I'm going to look at which point has 0 and then a number. That number, that 7, is b, or our y-intercept. So b equals 7. So in this case, I'm going to plug in m, I'm going to plug in b, and my equation y equals mx plus b. So y equals -3/2 x plus 7. And that should be my equation. Right? Pretty simple. Find the slope, find the y-intercept, plug them in. So, next one, -3, -8, -1, 1, and 0, -2. So I'm going to use the second 2 points. I'm not even going to worry about the first one. So the second 2 points, nice and easy, right? x1, y1, x2, y2. So find your slope first. M equals -2 minus 1 over 0 plus 1. I get -3 over 1, or just -3. So my slope is -3. My b, my y-intercept, I'm going to look at the 0, comma, a number. In this case, I have 0, comma, -2. So -2 is where my y-intercept is. So b equals -2, plug it in. Y equals -3x minus 2. So you can write plus -2. We should be writing it as -2 though, right? As simplified as possible. Y equals -3x minus 2. Then our last one, we have 3, -4, and 0, 8. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Same thing, find your slope. Change in y over change in x. 8 plus 4 over 0 minus 3. we should get 12 over negative 3, which gives us negative 4 for our slope. So m equals negative 4. Then, my y-intercept at 0 comma a number again, right? 0 comma b. So, in this case I have 0 comma 8, so b is equal to 8. Then I'm just plugging in my slope and my y-intercept. Y equals negative 4x plus 8. So remember, find the slope, plug it in for m. Find the y-intercept, plug it in for b. Y equals negative 4x plus 8. Alright. Now, Now, if we're just given 2 points, if we're not given a point that has a y-intercept in it, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Step 1 is going to be the same. We're going to use them to find the slope. Step 2 then is we're going to plug in m and either point, the values of x and y, we're going to plug in there and solve for b. Then what we're going to do, substitute m and b back into y equals mx plus b. So, 3 examples. First one, I'm given negative 2, 3, and 6, negative 1. So find our slope first. M equals negative 1 minus 3 over 6 plus 2. Right? x1, y1. x2, y2. Make sure we're labeling those points so we don't get messed up. We should get negative 4 over 8, which equals negative 1/2. So our slope is negative 1/2. So if I have y equals mx plus b, I'm going to plug in my m, or negative 1/2, and then I'm going to plug in either of my 2 points, right? x1, y1, or x2, y2. I'm plugging them in for x and y. I'm going to use the first ones, negative 2, 3. So my y value is 3, so I get 3 equals negative 1/2 times negative 2. And then plus b. And then I'm just going to solve for b. So in this case I get 3 equals negative 1/2 times negative 2 is positive 1 plus b, and I'm just subtracting 1 to solve for b. So we should get 2 equals b. So now I have my slope, I have my y-intercept, I'm just going to plug them in. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. That's my final answer, right? That's my equation. Find the slope, find the y-intercept, plug them in for m and b. 2 more examples. First one, 4, 3, and 6, 5. So, x1, y1, x2, y2. My slope, change in y, 5 minus 3, over, change in x, 6 minus 4. I get 2 over 2, which equals 1. So, take that 1, y equals mx plus b, take m equals 1, take either of your 2 points. I'm going to use 4 and 3, I'm going to use x1, y1 again, plug them all into here and solve for b. So, y1 is 3, equals m is 1 times x is 4, plus b. So I get 3 equals 4 plus b, and I'm just subtracting 4. So we get negative 1 equals b. So my slope is 1, my y-intercept is negative 1. Plug it in to our equation for m and b. Y equals 1x minus 1, or we can write it as y equals x minus 1. Right? Find your slope, find your y-intercept, plug them in. Alright, last one. Negative 2, 5, and negative 6, 11. x1, y1, x2, y2. Right? Label those so we don't forget them. Find the slope. Change in y, 11 minus 5, over change in x, negative 6 plus 2. So we get 6 over negative 4, which we can reduce to negative 3/2. So my slope is negative 3/2. So I'm going to take my slope and x1, y1, and I'm going to plug them in for y, m, and x. So my y value is 5 equals my slope, negative 3/2, times my x is negative 2, plus b. And then just solve for b. 5 equals negative 3/2 times negative 2 is going to give me positive 6. Excuse me, positive 3. Thanks, you and I make mistakes. So, 3 plus b, and then subtract 3. So b equals 2. Now I have m, I have b, I can plug them into my equation. Y equals negative 3/2 x plus 2. And I'm done, right? Find your slope, find your y-intercept, no matter if you're given 2 points in the y-intercept or just 2 points. Find your slope, find your y-intercept, plug them into the equation. So, show your notes to Ms. McDonald and Mr. Fox. They'll give you the homework, you can start working on it. Good luck.